Well, welcome everyone to our Writing a Situational Leadership Assessment webinar. I'm Dr. Basil Considine. I am the Raven here, and I'm joined here by my colleague Sarah, who is the cat here. So hopefully this will not end with her chasing me around looking for dinner, because we've got a lot of stuff we're supposed to talk about, and I don't want to be flapping my wings for my life here. So
I
if
will
you
I will try and refrain.
If you are looking for writing help from the ACU Online Writing Center, you're more than welcome to visit us. You can send a quick question to us via email or sign up for an appointment. Uh, Sarah, tell us a little bit about how students can get help with you and the rest of the team. Where should we go?
So, yeah, so we have two types of appointment. We have email asynchronous appointments where you go to the schedule, find a day that works for you, and whenever you make the appointment, you don't have to upload your document at that time. So if you want to schedule ahead, you can. If you know, oh, I have a paper due in 2 weeks and I know that I want someone to review it beforehand, you can go ahead and look for the white spaces are what is available. And you
Mm-hmm,
can find one of those that works best for you in your schedule
mm-hmm.
and click on it. And it'll ask you what kind of appointment you want. So if you just want to upload and have us email you back our feedback, you can do an email asynchronous. Or if you want a Zoom appointment where you can meet face to face with a tutor and brainstorm, kind of have a someone to bounce off ideas off with, you can do a Zoom. Those are really good for that. Um, And of course, let us know if there's something specific you'd like help with for this specific assignment. Um,
Okay. And you said I don't need to upload
you
the file when I'm
nope,
making.
you don't need to upload it when you make the appointment, but you do want to be sure that before the time of your appointment that you do go ahead and upload whatever document you want reviewed.
So I can just use this attach file button here to do that.
That would be the one.
Great. Well, I'll have to remember to upload my paper before my appointment.
And you will get an email reminder sent to your ACU email once you have made the appointment. And it'll tell you, oh, you made an appointment with this tutor for this time and date. So you do get a nice little reminder.
With that, let's talk about our objectives for today. We're going to talk a little bit about how to write about leadership theories in APA style. We're going to talk about a particular assignment and how to focus on specific tasks, because there's a long bit of introduction for this assignment. And time permitting, we'll spend some time on outline and drafting, and we'll see if, as a good Raven, I am able to run off with someone's dinner in the middle. All right, so let's talk about leadership theories in APA style. So the basic formula is rather familiar for anything in APA style. You want to tell us who wrote it, when was it published, and what the key thing is about. So, for example, Smith's 2018 theory of church volunteer leadership. And if it's something that's been through a number of different versions, perhaps by the same author, perhaps by others, then we want to clarify which specific version you're using. And that is not always the most recent one. Sometimes you go back to an earlier thing because you say, well, actually, this one was modified for this context. I have something where this earlier form works better, or I think it might be more relevant. Like, Karuna 2006 extended this theory by applying it to the potency of charismatic authority. So here are a couple examples. Sarah, would you read these in alternation with me?
Yes, am I going first?
Sure.
Okay, Conger and Kanugo's 1987 behavioral theory of charismatic leadership emphasizes the importance of charisma in effective leadership within an organization.
Conger and Canugo stated that charisma is an important component in effective organizational leadership.
Charisma is an important characteristic of effective organizational leadership.
According to the behavioral theory of charismatic leadership, actions that alienate followers will undermine leaders' success in the long term. Conger and Canungo, 1987. So these are all giving us those same basic elements that we were discussing earlier, the who wrote it, when was it published, and what it's about. But you'll notice that they all have a different message depending on how this information is arranged and presented. The first example is emphasizing, oh, these people's behavioral theory as it was articulated in 1987. This is emphasizing, oh, these authors said that. This is more saying, okay, this is a fact. And the source that it came from is important, but not important for parsing the idea that charisma is an important characteristic for effective organizational leadership. And then this last one is focusing so much on what that theory says that who wrote it isn't even highlighted, but that helps you focus on the theory itself. So depending on what you are writing, you might use all of these or others. A couple more examples. Sarah, would you field this one?
Yes. Let's see, specific theory of models versus, behavioral leadership theories emphasize the importance of,
Now, if you were joining us in the interstitium between the previous webinars, you may have heard us talking about title case. In APA 7th edition, you do not capitalize theory names or model names. If the name happens to include a proper noun, like say Beckman, you would capitalize the first letter of that. But, theory of behavioral leadership, that would all be lowercase. Now, if you are using the names of surveys or questionnaires or study instruments, APA style does treat those as proper nouns, so you would use title case. For example, the Leader's Behavior Description Questionnaire assesses leadership according to whatever it does. Or Oates' Leadership Expert Questionnaire categorizes these things. So at this point, we're going to look at the assignment instructions, and we're just going to take a quick look at this assignment coming from Como 421. All right, Sarah, you ready? Strapped in?
Okay, I am ready to rock and roll.
All right, we're going to speed read the instructions. Start out, preamble, to apply leadership theories to personal leadership abilities and contexts. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of instructions, followed by
Do not be overwhelmed.
So it's important when you see something like this, it very helpfully gives you very detailed instructions on what to write about in what order, but don't get overwhelmed. Start with the discrete set of tasks, and once you've done the things that are required there, then move on to the other one. So backing up here, so this is coming from a upper division undergraduate course, kind of courses typically taken by a college or university senior. So we have a longer paper than perhaps you may have written before. We have down here specifies 1,250 to 500 words. So in APA style, double spaced page with 1-inch margins all around is going to be around 250 words. So we are talking roughly 5 to 8 pages of content, which is good to know so that you're planning on the appropriate level of detail here. All right, let's back up now. So we have the first page of instructions about this. This assignment takes 2 theories situational leadership theory and path goal theory. And so per our earlier discussion, Sarah, what might you expect is a common mistake that leads people to lose points when they are writing about these theories?
That they are capitalizing them.
Yes. And so it's important to know that many things that you're reading may be following title case rules for theories, but for your paper that is being graded on following APA style, you should make sure that you are doing what APA style says and write those in sentence case. So all of this would be lowercase. All right, so we have instructions that include saying that there will be an appendix, and in that appendix you will provide your scores for a leadership assessment. Okay, great. Uh, let's go ahead and start setting up a document in Word. So, do you have a copy of our APA paper template, Sarah?
I do. I have that downloaded to my desktop as a template.
That sounds like a great thing to do. I've done that myself. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. And in this case, this assignment doesn't require an abstract, so we'll just take that out. And then we've got these placeholders. Just go ahead and take those out already. So I'm going to have a references section. And where does an appendix go in APA style?
That would be after your references page.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and insert a page break. And then if you only have one appendix, it's just going to be called appendix. All right, so back to our instructions here. We need to provide our scores in an appendix at the end. And if we skip ahead slightly, we'll see that there is this reverse scoring thing. So make sure you do that. And then our first content for the main part is going to be writing about situational leadership theory. So let's go ahead and start putting these things into Word documents. We can map out where things are going. All right. So what I'm going to do to start out is I'm just going to go ahead and grab the assignment instructions from the course website, and I'm going to paste them into here. Now that's a lot. We have literally a couple pages of instructions here. So one thing that I would strongly recommend is to go through and see anything that you feel, I don't need to see this. I know I understand that, and delete it so that you're looking just at the list of what you need to do. So for example, as soon as you add your assessment scores at the end, you can go ahead and either cross this out or just delete it. And then up here, I will look at this and say, okay, I got the purpose. I can just delete that. Instructions on the raw score. Okay, take that out. I'll check the rubric later to make sure I'm that, so I can take these things out. And now we're starting to look at more a list specifically of what to do. With me so far?
Yeah, and now at the beginning when we were looking at the word count, you estimated this would be roughly 5 to 8 pages long. Could I just go ahead and insert those blank pages so that as I'm filling in the blanks, I know when I have more or less reached the page number that I want?
You could. Page breaks are a little tricky sometimes with tracking it. So, for example, we can look at space here. If that works for you, I'd say absolutely. If it's something where you're working on, say, a small laptop or tablet screen, I'd say just be conscious of uh, checking where you are because it's easier to track that on a big screen, especially when you have something like the navigation pane here to quickly look and see,
Mm-hmm.
oh, have I filled up that number of things here? Okay,
Fair
great
enough.
question. All right, so one thing I'm going to do here also is I'm going to take these content areas that were in the original instruction and I'm going to make them headings so that I can always rename them later, but it tells me, hey, this information goes here. All right, I think I'm ready to write. Sarah, I have signed up for an appointment with you in Zoom and just like you to help keep me on track here. So if I start writing something that's not what this asks for, could you let me know?
Yes, I will definitely reel you back if you try and fall down the rabbit hole. Question.
Yes?
Before we start in, maybe we should just read over what it's asking us to include in this section, just to make sure that we're staying on track.
Okay, well, provide a short description of the major characteristics of the situational approach needed to interpret the assessment. Oh, okay.
And what would this include?
Well, it says I should have background, historical development, major elements, the theory, and how that connects. And that sounds kind of like something that instead of writing this, I can just start out by uh, listing. Whoops, that did not work, right? All right, so I can give myself a list of things that I need to find from the reading and put that in. Okay. All right. Give me a moment to orient my thoughts now that I've had that. Thanks for keeping me on track here.
You're so welcome.
And I'll have to go ahead and fill these things in here. All right. So I'm looking at the instructions where it said maybe 1,250 words is the minimum. So I'm thinking I'm going to need probably a page or two on this because we've got two theories to discuss. So maybe one page here for the theoretical overview, the assessment. Well, I like to write about myself, so maybe a page. And then,
Um,
hey, it says to complete the questionnaire and include what I think the answers are.
fair enough. Yes, fair enough. That questionnaire is very important to this assignment.
All right, so now we have path goal theory, okay? So again, I've got a list of things. So I'm going to go ahead and start preparing this.
Question.
Yes.
Does the findings from what the survey you took literally say awesome?
Uh, no, but I got very high scores.
Um, in what in what areas did you get high scores? Because it might be helpful to specify.
Well, it did say that I got a 10 for greed and a 10 for being distracted.
Do you feel that those are accurate?
I like high numbers. What can I say? But I take your point. I should clarify that. For example, I got a 10 out of 10 for greed and
And in the readings for this week, what what did they have to say about these different characteristics?
okay, well, I can add some things about this. There we go. I have backed up my statement with supporting examples and I've grounded it in the course text.
So, but now I get that you feel really good about your high scores, but based on the course readings for this week, it feels like maybe the scoring high in these areas might be where you have some room for improvement.
Well, I think this is just asking me to identify my characteristics and explain them. But let me check the instructions here. Oh, here's a section where I should write about that. All right, let me get started on that. All right, I'll think of some more examples later, but
Yeah.
glad you called my attention to that, how I need to write about that in this section.
Yeah. And it might be nice to end with, on a high note, with what your strengths were. Not exactly what I was imagining you would write, but
Look, it said to lead into who you are and what you do, and I am a raven. Someone eating French fries on the boardwalk, go steal their lunch.
I think you're off to a really good start for this assignment. I like how you've divided the paper. You have your headings, you know what you need to talk about in each section.
All right, let's take a look at those slides again. So as you mentioned earlier, it's really helpful to keep in mind what you have to do and to be able to look through and check off and say, oh, for each particular step, I've gone ahead and added the raw scores in the appendix, that I've done things like discuss each of these particular elements, including interpreting them. And so if you were to print this out or save it as a picture and annotate it on your computer or a tablet, you can check these off as you go. Whereas you saw us working earlier, using a Word document and having the instructions themselves being a set of requirements that we can then cross off as they're completed. I do want to call attention that something that Sarah was referring to earlier, that there's a difference between partially addressing something and fully addressing it. And that if you only give, for example, the score report without discussing it, then that's the difference between 10 points and 6 points, which can be rather considerable. All right, so I think you were trying to tell me earlier that I was getting distracted and going off on tangents, Sarah. Is that right?
A little bit, but you got back on track.
All right. So, well, if I start with the instructions and I make sure I'm writing exactly what they're telling me to do first, then I can add some more comments if there's space left over. But yeah, we'll see how many pages that takes, given my distractibility score of 10. You also told me to interpret that, and that's always a good guide to make sure that you are citing the thing that tells you how to interpret your test score results. Again, that's going to be a author date citation. And of course, we want to make sure that we are answering the prompt directly first and then following up with more information. So, Sarah, I've decided that I'm going to work on that distractibility thing, and I'm going to go ahead and sign up for appointments for the whole rest of the term now. Is anything going to stop me from doing that?
No, every student can schedule up to 2 appointments per week.
So, can I just like at the start of fall two sign up for appointments for all 7 weeks?
No, you can sign up to 2 weeks ahead.
Ah, so can't just sign up for all of them at once and get it done with? Well,
Unfortunately, not.
I suppose that means that I'll probably miss fewer appointments because I got carried away playing Pokemon Go and forgot because I signed up a month ago. So I suppose
Yeah,
that'll be good for working towards my goals here.
hopefully.
All right. Well, if people have questions and they'd like to get a hold of either one of us, how would you suggest that they reach out?
They can email the online writing center.
Ah, I
They,
see.
yeah, we
So you
have our
have an email
lovely
address,
email
right?
there. Mm-hmm.
All right. And if we have any trouble making an appointment, there's a video on the Online Writing Center website and in my.acu.edu, right?
Yes, there is.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me and keeping me on track, Sarah. I think I'm getting to fly away without having been assaulted by any cat, so I'm good. I think I'm going to go off and steal someone's lunch. I see some curly fries down the road.
Oh, it sounds like you have an exciting rest of your evening ahead.
All right. Thanks again. Catch you later.
All right, see ya.